Hey there, folks. I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse. And yeah, holidays are still not quite over. Thus, this week gets a little weird. And it's Billboard BREAKDOwn.
I don't remember.
So as far as I can tell, this is going to be the last week that holiday music is squatting on the Hot 100. This is the tracking week that overlaps Christmas after all. It'll mean next week when the expected chaos of everything old flooding back in because Billboard turns their recurrent rules on and off whenever they feel like it, but we will burn that bridge next week. In the meantime, it's going to be another slightly slower episode, albeit kind of a strange one. Well, okay, outside of our top 10 that is. Literally the top 7 songs are all holiday songs, starting off with All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, still at the number 1, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee at number 2, Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms at number 3, Last Christmas by Wham rising up to number 4, overtaking A Holly Jolly Christmas by Burl Ives at number 5, and then It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Andy Williams at number 6, and a bump for Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano at number 7. Now that overtook Antihero by Taylor Swift at number 8, but given that she's sitting on the top of the radio with year-end roundup momentum, she's probably set to take this right back to number 1. And right behind her is The Christmas Song by Nat King Cole at number 9, and then holding up the rear is Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras at number 10, also just pretty much based on the radio. Now this will take us to our losers and our dropouts, and really it's just the lower third of SZA's album bomb in the latter category, along with All Mine by Brent Faiyaz. Hell, if you want to look at the story of our losers too, outside of Superhero, Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, Chris Brown, and Future at 55, it's all SZA again. Gone Girl at 100, SOS at 97, Special at 92, Ghost in the Machine with Phoebe Bridgers at 89, Used with Don Toliver at 86, Seek and Destroy at 81, Love Language at 77, Snooze at 74, Blind at 67, Low at 65, Nobody Gets Me at 59, and Short back down to 52. So you might well ask, what could possibly replace all this? Well, it's kind of a mess when we look at our returns and gains. On the one hand, you get the holiday returns still coming as expected. Home for the Holidays by Perry Como-Beck at 41, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by Michael Bublé at 48, and Christmas Time Is Here by the Vince Guaraldi Trio. But then you got the leftovers that are creeping back that are primed for some major pickups next week because they've got inertia already, and all the holiday music above them is going to evaporate. Now, where it's least likely is with La Jumpa by Archangel and Bad Bunny at 99 off of the YouTube, but with Forget Me by Louis Capaldi at 98 and Pick Me Up by Gabby Barrett at 96, courtesy of already having radio, I'd call it outright likely. Now, the one exception is No Si Va by Grupo Frontera at 93, but that's tied to some of the strangeness of the Hot 100 this week. We'll come back to this. Now, when we look at our gains, the 2 of them that we have, the dichotomy between holiday music and pop also kinda seems present, with This Christmas by Donny Hathaway rising to 37, but Hold Me Closer by Elton John and Britney Spears is up to 82. I'd put that more down to year-end countdowns, and while the effect will likely still be the same, it will probably not pick up any sort of newfound momentum. But this takes us to our new arrivals. And there's only 3 of them, and they're all in Spanish. I apologize in advance for the inevitable bad pronunciation, because contrary to popular belief, I do try to get it right. Usually a combination of not growing up with Spanish at all in Canada, coupled with the teleprompter, and occasionally multiple pronunciations when I do my research. And I guarantee that even if I actually got it right, my accent while doing so would make it sound just completely wrong to a native speaker. I don't think there's any winning on my front. But enough of my bitching. Let's start off with number 91, Bebe Dame by Fuerza, Regida, and Grupo Frontera.
Quisiera que pase otro día y no te vea al amanecer.
Alright, here's a question. Why is it that the Grupo Frontera songs that go viral on TikTok do so with the live version? The vocal mixing is audibly worse, the dynamics of the mix feel ever so slightly off, like a demo that wasn't completed properly, and while the accordion and the groove here are generally fine, I'm nowhere near as enamored or impressed with this as I feel like I should be, or like I'm supposed to be. Now, part of this comes with translating the lyrics, where in an effort to rebuild a broken relationship, we get this strident confession of love that that feels kind of clingy and oversold at best, and really kind of presumptuous at worst. There's no subtlety or greater flair to this poetry, even post-translation. It's just braying and horny and not remotely flattering. Now again, I'll accept I'm not the target audience of this, but I can also recognize something that had maybe enough ideas for TikTok and nothing else. Just kind of mediocre. Number 83, Que Vuelvas by Carin and Grupo Frontera.
Pero al contrario estás allá donde te extraño.
Okay, this one feels a little bit different. Carin is an established act in regional Mexican music. He's put out several albums, and it looks like the connection with Grupo Frontera this time feels a bit more professional, even if the production still feels way too much like a live mix down to the canned drum mixing and wonky vocals. But to Carin credit, he's got more of a distinguished and distinctive vocal personality, and against the accordion, the writing comes off a little bit better too. Another plea for someone to return and receive all of the love, but the sort of message that for as many times as he's tried to write it down to send to this person, his pride prevents him from actually reaching out. It's a decent bit of detail, there's some complexity. And while the production keeps you from getting on board fully, you know what, there's more to like about this. I appreciate that. And finally, number 62, Gato de Noche by Nengo, Flow, and Bad Bunny. So it actually turns out I've mentioned Nengo Flow before. He was on the first of Bad Bunny's album bombs back in 2020, where he and Lil Baby went head to head. I don't really remember the song. Didn't really stand out as neither the best or the worst of that overloaded week. So I didn't really have much expectations beyond just everyone riding Bad Bunny's coattails these days. Especially here, where Bad Bunny has the intro, the majority of the hook, and one of two verses. And unfortunately, the stock, blocky reggaeton percussion against the washed out synth doesn't exactly make for an interesting song in the production, so we're stuck going to the content again, and it's a particularly angry sex song, where this girl seems to have moved on, but she's still screwing Bad Bunny on the side at night. Nengo Flow's nasal flexing verse, it's not interesting, he easily gets overshadowed here. But I also think this is not helped by the smugness being such a bad fit for Bad Bunny's delivery, especially when there's not really any added layers. The gloating from him just never works for me. And it's not as bad as when Bad Bunny was with Archangel, but this is not particularly likable, especially when in the instrumental side, it's just kind of forgettable. I'd skip it. And thus, while it's a short week, the best falls out quickly, with Que Vuelvas by Carin and Grupo Frontera. The worst, I'm giving it to Nengo Flow and Bad Bunny for Gato de Noche, if only because I've got expectations for Bad Bunny now, and this is not remotely living up to them. Now, next week, well, the holiday music's gonna be gone, the charts will be in turmoil, hopefully it'll be interesting, so stay tuned. But until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with Spectrum Pulse. And I'll see you next time.